Today I want to discuss about a very, I wouldn't say controversial topic, but just a debatable one as to which is the best form of, training methodology, whether it's high volume, high set and reps sort of training, or whether it's high intensity, low volume, heavyweight sort of training. Now, as we know, there are two schools of thoughts when it comes to this. One is spearheaded by Arnold Schwarzenegger. The later one was by Mike Mensio, and later on by Dorian Yates, the four-time Mr. Olympia. Now, let me give you, be matter of fact, everybody knows this, that the high volume, or high, training was brought to, was spearheaded by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it was given a huge publication, and wider propaganda was done by uh, Vader Empire. Now, they made a fortune out of it. They thrived on it. They sold all their magazines based on this high volume, high set and high repetition. Uh, Selling the idea that more is better, right? That was the philosophy back then, and even Schwarzenegger, in many of his interviews, even in Pumping Iron, he said that he used to train 4 hours a day, right? Which looks more like impractical for general public, and is very time consuming. But he said that that's the great way to make muscle gains. You know Around the same period, there was a new wave in bodybuilding with the new philosophy that was sweeping the world of bodybuilding. It was by a gentleman named Arthur Jones. He was one who was manufacturing this, I think, Nutrella machines or something like that, who is basically designing new sort of machines and training principle, which was same on the lines of high intensity training, uh, where he conducted a lot of experiments with different bodybuilders to see how their bodies respond. And Casey Waiter and Mike Mensure were, the a couple of them who worked closely with Arthur Jones. Later on, this was picked up by Mike Mensure, who won a bodybuilding contest with a perfect score. Nobody in the history has done that so far. So that's a accomplishment which he did, and we know him from the bitter 1980 Olympia, controversial one, which I have already wrote in my article. Mike not only believed in that training, he, matter of fact, did seminars. He trained his clients on these, heavy, high intensity principle, and he named it as heavy duty training, right? Uh, I remember, I think Mike also did two DVDs or two training videos on this, and wrote, I think, authored 2 to 3 books, which were pretty good. And it was radical back then, because I think everybody was working on high volume and high sets and stuff like that. And here's a guy who said, like, that's not required. You could probably be in the gym for 30 minutes or 45 and get the hell out of there with great gains, and need not work out for 3 to 4 hours. Now, I am a firm big I'm a big believer in that, because I think high intensity training is absolutely productive. One flaw which I see in Mike Mensure's training principle is that he basically concluded, with his experiments, was that uh, one exercise per body part is sufficient to stimulate muscle growth, and you need not do an array of exercises, maybe like 4 to 5 different exercises, and you need not do like 5 to 6 or 7 or 8 sets per exercise per body part. So that's something which I find as a flaw, because if, for example, say if you're training your biceps, right? If you're training your biceps and you just do the barbell curls, yes, it's going to help you with the strength. It's going to help you with thickness and the mass of the biceps, but it's not going to give you a great peak. There are different. It's not going to work your back, other parts of the biceps, right? So if you're training your biceps, you got to do barbell curls, you got to do hammer curls, you got to do preacher curls, you got to do concentration curls, so as to train the muscle from all different angles to get that that look which the bodybuilding has, right? And same goes for all the other body parts, be it chest or be it back or legs. We do have a compound exercise, but along with that, you need to also work out on other I would say shaping or isolation exercises, right? That's where I think Mike it has a flaw. Mike's philosophy has a flaw. Now later came Dorian Yates, who more or less is like protege of Mike Mensah, even though as Dorian says, Mike did not directly help him train or prepare for Mr. Olympia. It was only just a couple of workouts they did together in probably Gold's Gym or somewhere in US when Dorian was there. Now Dorian openly acknowledged and said yes, he does train with a high intensity training principle where he does 2 to 3 warm up sets and then straight away goes to one working sets, and he goes to failure. That's and that's about it. Probably he's in the gym for an hour or so and he's out of it. He trains like 4 hours a day or 5 hours a day at the most, and nothing more than that. And he says, you know, that does help and give you great gains. Now, what I want to basically say is, until unless you're on steroids or any muscle enhancing supplements or something like that, or probably steroids or something, as I said, one cannot train for 4 hours a day and make great gains, right? Basically, you cannot. It's like a sprinter and a guy who runs a marathon. So that's more like that. I think for the general public, a natural athlete and a non-athlete, which is again general public, it's the high intensity training method is the best one, and they can make great gains, uh, and also spend less time in the gym and pursue whatever they want to in their personal life. So that's my opinion